Yeah. Before we go into this next song, do you guys want to hear a funny story? Yeah. And this is, I don't do this just to buy time, but I do this just to buy time. And honestly, I don't know why, I feel like you're getting a very different sort of, I feel very naked up here. I feel like you're seeing a very raw version of, not in that way, but just like, you know. And so this is a story that like, of kind of in the next song that we're gonna play, and where the line sort of came from, and I just think it's kind of funny, and I haven't really said it all that much. I probably would go to my grave without saying it, but it's kind of a good story, and I'd rather it come from me. But like, it was just one of those nights where you haven't seen your friend for a very, very long time, and I had a flight to Los Angeles the next day from Wicklow. I was in County Wicklow in Ireland to finish the album, and it was kind of doing the last sessions of the record, and there was one song that was yet to be finished, and I sort of was struggling to write a few lines for it. Not struggling, but just I was in the process of writing it, and it's just one of those nights like where you haven't seen one of your best old mates, a friend I've known since I was 12, and but it's one, he had work in the morning. It was a Thursday, and I remember because I had a flight Friday morning, and I was to be collected at 10 o'clock, and I hadn't started packing by the time we had our first drinks, and he had work the next morning. He had to be in at 10 o'clock. But it was one of those nights where you look at the clock and you're like, oh Jesus man, it's 3 o'clock, we have to go to bed. And you're already half cut, and you know, you end up, look, we'll just you know, one more type thing. And I won't go into it, but anyway, kind of fast forward, and then it's like 5 o'clock, like you just blink and it's 5:30. And so we go to bed and we think we have convinced ourselves, and we're just like smoking cigarettes and drinking very heavily all night, and we go to bed as you do, and so I wake up to the sight of him standing over my bed, being like, dude, I'm late for work now, and you need to get up. There's a car arriving for you to bring you to the airport in like 30 minutes. I hadn't started packing at this point. And he needed to get out of the gate, and I had the code to kind of let him out of the house, and I think I live in the countryside. And so he was in a panic. So I get up thinking I'm fine, and I sort of, you know, before the hangover sets in, you think you're okay, but it's like you're still drunk. And he was definitely in that sort of state. And I'm sitting on the stairs watching him put his shoes on. That was great crack, man. It was so much fun. Great to catch up, you know. And he's like, yeah, cool. And I stand up. Now, this is the thing. I don't know if there's many tall, very, very tall gentlemen in the house, or tall women as well, too. This effect. The first time this happened to me, I was a college student, and I was drinking very heavily. And I stood up too quickly. And if you have a hangover, your blood pressure is very, very low. And if you do that too quickly, and your blood pressure is low, it doesn't get to your brain in time. And so you could just hit the deck. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need to chill out for a second and let the blood hit your brain. So I stand up anyway, and I'm like, I'm about to go to the restroom, it's something like that. He's putting on his shoes, and I get up, and then, you know, blindness, bam. And I'm walking at full pace, and I am quite tall. Like, it's been said to me, if I fell down, I would be halfway home. But I was walking like at a full pace, and I just like, boom, like went like this, and my head hit this glass pane. I hope no one's recording this, of course they are. And my head hit the window at such force, right? And I hit the deck. This is a long story, by the way. And it gets really. So I'm gonna put this down. My head hit the window, and I've started now, so I'm gonna finish. My head hit the window at such force, and then I just hit the deck, and I was like, you know what? And you have that moment where you're like, you know what? Actually, fine. I'm just gonna rest here. The ground is cold, and you feel like that's bringing life back into your body. You know, you feel like you're like. And my friend started having an absolute panic. He thought like just the way that my neck moved when I hit the thing. And he was like, oh, dude, no, something's wrong. And in his state, he was like, I have to move you. I have to get you up. This doesn't look right. I was like, no, man, keep me here. So we have this back and forth. I'm on the ground, and he's like, no, come on, get up, get in that kitchen. I'm like, cool, yeah. Hit the deck again, right, straight into a wall. And then I packed, and I convinced him that I'm okay. He goes to work, I pack, and my back is in like horrendous spasm and stuff like that. I'm in like rough shape, going through security, onto the plane, grand, fine, all good, and I'm like rattled, like, you know, that kind of like that type of hangover where you're shaking and my back was in bits. And I look over to the left of me on this plane, and I see a famous Irish actor, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm also subject to like celebrity shock, where you see somebody you've seen on screen 1,000 times, and you're like, oh my God, that's a famous person, like, you know, that's like, you know, and I see Cillian Murphy is to my left. And the thing is, I was like, oh my God, and he's there, and he's just chilling. He's on the way to finish audio for a film, and I haven't said hi to him. I haven't spotted him. I've never met Cillian Murphy. He's a celebrity to me, somebody I'm a huge fan of. And then, and I'm like, okay, cool. Just stop staring. I have that thing where I'm like, oh my God, it's Cillian Murphy. And I'm like, stop staring, just chill out. And I'm wearing a beanie all that morning. I was wearing a hat. And I was on the plane midway through this flight. We'd taken off about 40 minutes later. We'd been in the air about 40 minutes. And I kind of like scratching at my head, going like, that's where the impact was, you know? And I'm like, oh my God, that's wet. And so I'm like, on a plane, looking at my fingers going, oh Jesus Christ, I'm bleeding a little bit. And I don't know the extent of the head wound, and I don't know how bad it is. And so like I'm just pale, and I'm going, oh my God, this could be quite bad. I'm trying to keep it together, and I also can't see it, you know. So, and then just at that moment, I kind of looked to my left, and for context, I had written a thing for UNICEF that was curated by Cillian Murphy. I'd written it months ago, but I'd never met him. But he put together this beautiful collection of essays on empathy for UNICEF. And I had contributed. It was loads of Irish contributors, the Irish president, and political figures, and creatives and stuff like that. Stories on empathy. So I'd only had like one email exchange, maybe that had kind of gone through other people, and it was just about this thing that was quite official and quite like, you know. And I turned to my left, and then just as I'm like realizing that my head is like bleeding to some extent, I'm like, okay, how do I figure out, am I going to go to the bathroom and like film this wound or something? I can't turn to like an air hostess and be like, listen, I might be in trouble here. And I turn to my left, and Cillian Murphy is like hunkered by my seat. He's like, how's it going? I just want to say thank you so much for contributing that thing yesterday on empathy. That was so sweet. And I was like, oh thanks, yeah. And I'm trying to like play it cool. I'm definitely not like freaking out of my nut here, like, but thank you so much. And he was so sweet and so kind. But that event, now I really haven't burnt the candle like that since then, as much as I, you know, maybe now and then, but like that was one of these sort of, and it lives in infamy among my friend group, but it's where the line, I aim low, I aim true, and the ground is where I go as well. I've never told Cillian Murphy that. I've never met him since, and I didn't have the guts to tell him at the time the shape that I was in. But so nobody share this on social media or anything. I feel great if you just keep that between us. Okay?